I mean, the clinical framework is immediately undercut by the house's nature, but it's Dr. Montague's specific criteria for his guests that truly sets the stage for disaster.
What were the criteria again?
He specifically invites people with previous psychic experiences. He is actively seeking out individuals who are already sensitive, already open, who already possess a history of, let's say, psychological porousness to the unseen world.
So he's not bringing in skeptics to be converted. He's bringing in antennas.
He's assembling a cast of emotional, sensory receptors. He's prioritizing sensitivity over skepticism.
It's like he's trying to catch lightning in a bottle using these highly volatile conduits. But he seems to have forgotten that lightning tends to incinerate what it strikes, not just illuminate it for study.
That analogy is highly appropriate. Montague is looking for empirical proof, but the source material makes a really strong case that the house is looking for something else.
Companionship.
A permanent resident. And by gathering people who are predisposed to psychological or sensory openness, he hands Hill House precisely the tools it needs to execute its strategy of possession. His academic quest for proof inadvertently became the catalyst for someone else's permanent undoing.
And this brings us back to why the physical environment matters so profoundly. This is a connection we really urge you, the listener, to hold on to as we progress. The documentation strongly suggests the house's isolation is the very foundation for the psychological breakdown that follows.
Absolutely. If the house were near a busy town, if external validation were readily available, if a normal reality were just a short drive away,
the psychological terror would lose its ultimate grip. It couldn't hold you.
The isolation means there's no neutral ground. Every moment you spend in Hell House is spent within its consciousness because there is no external reality to anchor you.
So the lack of physical escape, that 10-mile drive to town, it mirrors the lack of mental escape.
Exactly. The constant, subtle chaos of the architecture, combined with the extreme physical solitude, is engineered to wear down the rational mind until the only reliable, consistent presence left is the house itself.
It becomes the only reality.
That is the genius and the profound horror of the initial setup. The house dictates the terms of reality.
It is the perfect, terrifying laboratory for possession, and our sources detail exactly who fell into it and why. So we've established this terrifying environment, the antagonists in stone and shadow. Now we turn the page in the sources to look at the players the house chose to invite.
Or perhaps chose to select.
Good point. So Dr. Montague, our well-meaning academic, manages to attract two participants who respond to his very specific invitation. Eleanor Vance and Theodora, or Theo.
And then there's Luke.
Right, Lou Sanderson. He's the designated heir to the property, and he's basically forced to join them. He's a kind of skeptical observer and property watchdog.
So we have our 4 human participants, and each one represents a crucial variable in this involuntary experiment. Dr. Montague is the rational observer, right? He's attempting to impose scientific method onto the profoundly inexplicable.
He's the anchor of logic.
He is, but his focus on data collection makes him fundamentally blind to the deeper emotional tragedy that's unfolding. He's ineffective because the house is targeting the heart, not the thermometer.
I like that. And then you have Luke Sanderson, the heir. He's described repeatedly in the notes as sarcastic and charming.
The quintessential skeptic.
Yeah, he's present only through mandate. His presence provides that necessary contrast. He's an outsider trying desperately to maintain this flippant, distanced perspective.
He is the human embodiment of denial, which the house will likely try to undermine with some visceral phenomena directed at him, but mostly it's directed around him.
To isolate him in a different way?
In a way, yes. And Theo, she's described as bold, playful, and possessing a distinctly telepathic personality.
She represents the intuitive, the open, maybe even the rebellious side of psychic sensitivity.
I think so. She approaches the supernatural with confidence, maybe even a bit of curiosity, which shields her initially. She sees it as an intellectual puzzle.
But that very openness also puts her in direct sensory contact with the house's emotional energy.
Exactly. She can feel the chaos without being immediately consumed by the need for belonging that we see elsewhere.
And that brings us to the absolute focal point. The gravitational center of the house's terrifying attention. Eleanor Vance. She is described in the source documentation with keywords that just jump off the page. Lonely, emotionally fragile, sensitive to spirits, and bearing the weight of a really difficult past. The house doesn't just recognize her, it singles her out immediately because her vulnerability is so raw and exposed.
Eleanor's character profile is the key to understanding the entire narrative arc, and we really have to spend some time here. Her loneliness isn't just a passive personality trait. It is a profound, active void that the house specifically seeks to fill. The sources detail her life before Hill House years, spent in this thankless, isolated duty of caring for her demanding, now deceased mother.
That kind of prolonged, isolated caregiving often strips away a person's sense of self-worth and external validation. She's arriving with nothing.
She arrives at Hill House already emotionally bankrupt. She's seeking desperately for a new identity, a new purpose, or even just acceptance.
And the house is waiting.
Precisely. A house can't possess someone who is already completely fulfilled and securely anchored in external relationships, work, or self-worth. It's the specific combination of fragility and sensitivity that makes her the optimal target for the house's unique form of companionship.
So Hill House doesn't need to break down any external defenses.
No, it only needs to offer an illusion of comfort to someone who's already internally adrift.
And the sources highlight this immediate, chilling connection, reinforcing the whole idea of targeted selection. From the moment Eleanor first glimpses the mansion, she feels something tugging her.
As if the house recognizes her.
Exactly. It's such